जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपीजना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। गोपीजना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। गोपीजना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। गोपीजना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। यशोदानंदनं व्रज जनरंजना। यशोदानंदनं व्रज जनरंजना। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना। जमुना तीर वनचारी। जमुना तीर वनचारी। राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रजजन रंजन 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 जमुना तीरवनचारी जमुना तीरवनचारी जय जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी हे गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रजजन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रजजन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रजजन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रजजन रंजन जमुना तीरवनचारी जय जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। जय विष्णुपद परमहंस वज्रिकाचार्य अष्टो सरस्वती श्री श्रीमद शिल भय चरणानंद भक्ति वेदांत साईं महाराज शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नाम आचार्य शिल ठाकुर हरिदास की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरी गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवदीप मायापुर धाम की जय। गंगा देवी की जय। यमुना माई की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। तुलसी रानी की जय। समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। इस्कॉन विविधि संस्थापक आचार्य श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। गौ प्रेमानंदे। All glory to the humble devotees. All glory to the humble devotees. All glory to the humble devotees. All glory to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Om Jnanaptimirantasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you everyone for coming. Even though it's a weeknight, I know you're all very busy. Tonight we'll be discussing from Bhagavad Gita, as it is, the translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada is the founder and Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. We've been discussing throughout the last week or two the 4 seed verses of Bhagavad Gita, the so-called Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, which occur in chapter 10, texts number 8, 9, 10, and 11. So tonight we're on the final verse of that quartet. Chapter 10, text number 11. We can sing the Sanskrit responsively. Tesham evanukamparham aham ajnanajam tamaham nashiyami atma bhavastho Jnana-deepena bhasvata Teshamevanukampartham Aham ajnanajam tamaham Nashayami atma bhavasto Jnana-deepena bhasvata Teshamevanukampartham Aham ajnanajam tamaham Nashayami atma bhavasto Jnana-deepena bhasvata Tesham, for them, eva, certainly, anukampa artham, to show special mercy. Aham, I, ajnanajam, due to ignorance, tamaha, darkness, nashayami, dispel, atmabhava, within their hearts, stha, situated, jnana, of knowledge, deepena, with the lamp, bhasvata, glowing. Translation. To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with a shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. Let's repeat this, please. To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. We'll read the purport, commentary by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with a shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. Purport. When Lord Chaitanya was in Banaras, promulgating the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, thousands of people were following him. Prakashananda Saraswati, a very influential and learned scholar in Banaras at that time, derided Lord Chaitanya for being a sentimentalist. Sometimes Mayavadi philosophers criticize the devotees because they think that most of the devotees are in the darkness of ignorance and are philosophically naive sentimentalists. Actually, that is not the fact. There are very, very learned scholars who have put forward the philosophy of devotion. But even if a devotee does not take advantage of their literatures or of his spiritual master, if he is sincere in his devotional service, he is helped by Krishna himself within his heart. So the sincere devotee engaged in Krishna consciousness cannot be without knowledge. The only qualification is that one carry out devotional service in full Krishna consciousness. The Mayavadi philosophers think that without discriminating one cannot have pure knowledge. For them, this answer is given by the Supreme Lord. Those who are engaged in pure devotional service, even though they be without sufficient education and even without sufficient knowledge of the Vedic principles, are still helped by the Supreme God as stated in this verse. The Lord tells Arjuna that basically there is no possibility of understanding the supreme truth, the absolute truth, the supreme personality of Godhead, simply by speculating. For the supreme truth is so great that it is not possible to understand him or to achieve him simply by making a mental effort. Man can go on speculating for several millions of years, and if he's not devoted, if he's not a lover of the supreme truth, he will never understand Krishna or the supreme truth. Only by devotional service is the supreme truth, Krishna, pleased. And by his inconceivable energy, he can reveal himself to the heart of the pure devotee. The pure devotee always has Krishna within his heart. And with the presence of Krishna, who is just like the sun, the darkness of ignorance is at once dissipated. This is the special mercy rendered to the pure devotee by Krishna. Due to the contamination of material association through many, many millions of births, one's heart is always covered with the dust of materialism. But when one engages in devotional service and constantly chants Hare Krishna, the dust quickly clears, and one is elevated to the platform of pure knowledge. The ultimate goal, Vishnu, can be attained only by this chant and by devotional service, and not by mental speculation or argument. The pure devotee does not have to worry about the material necessities of life. He need not be anxious, because when he removes the darkness from his heart, everything is provided automatically by the Supreme Lord, who is pleased by the loving devotional service of the devotee. This is the essence of the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. By studying Bhagavad Gita, one can become a soul completely surrendered to the Supreme Lord and engage himself in pure devotional service. As the Lord takes charge, one becomes completely free from all kinds of materialistic endeavors. Tesham evanukam parthamaham jnanajam tamaha nashiyami atma bhavasto jnana deepena bhasvata. To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with a shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. There are a few words in this verse that are very significant. The very first two words are significant. Tesham eva. What does it mean? For them only. Only. Eva. Eva means only. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur glosses this phrase as Natu anyesham yoginam. Not the others, such as yogis, ordinary yogis. Why not yogis? Yogis generally, why are they practicing yoga? They want siddhis, or they want to lose weight. At best, they want siddhis. Very rarely we find a yogi who has actually realized the actual position of yoga. The real position of yoga is described in the Srimad Bhagavatam how? Dhyana avasthita tadgatena manasa pashyanti yam yoginaha. The yogis are always engaged in worshiping, meditating on the Lord within the heart. So we're not talking about them necessarily. And certainly we're not talking about the next category of those who are disqualified, according to Baladev Vidyabhushana in his commentary. He says, Mam vina pranan dhartamasamarthanam madekantinam eva. This Tesham eva refers to those who cannot sustain their lives without me, to those who are exclusively devoted unto me. Natu sanishtanam. Natu sanishtanam means not unto those who are sanishta devotees. Now at this point we have to pause and explain three terms that are very central in Baladev Vidyabhushana's commentary on Bhagavad Gita. One is sanishta. Anybody familiar with these terms? Sanishta devotee means the name suggests he has faith. He's progressing as he can, but his main process is to follow all the injunctions of Shastra. And that generally entails going from karma yoga then to jnana yoga, because when you graduate from the school of karma yoga, you get jnanadhikar, you get the capability or the prerogative, the qualification to actually understand something. What does jnana mean? Atma jnana. You understand, what am I? What is the nature of spirit? And you identify that I am actually that spirit. In other words, you attain spiritual self-realization, we call it. And after gaining some gyan, then a person who becomes a first-class yogi, according to Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he is able to meditate on Paramatma, as we said. Dhyanavastita tadgitena manasa pashyanti yam yoginaha. At that point, then one becomes a pure devotee. So it's a step-by-step process, and one may have Krishna consciousness as the ideal, one may be practicing Krishna consciousness to some degree, but ordinary devotees have to go through these 4 stages. Because generally, entry-level Krishna consciousness begins with what? Yeah, not even karmi, vikarmi. In this modern day and age, we're by default, we're disqualified. Nobody's following karma nowadays. So I was having a discussion about one Pandit, and the person telling me this, he's chanting his Sandhya-vandanam thrice daily. How many people are doing that? Nobody does that, even if they call themselves Sharma. So, or Bhattacharya, or whatever. So, this is the idea. This is sanishta. In other words, ordinary devotees, or ordinary pious person. Then parinishthita is that person who also follows the rules and regulations of the Shastra, Vaidhi Bhakti, you can say. But that person's only purpose is to serve Krishna through doing this. And he follows mainly for the purpose of setting a good example for others. Because after all, example is better than precept. And what does Krishna say about this back in chapter 3? Yad yad acharati shreshthas tat tad evetaro janaha. Whatever the shreshthas are doing, then the ordinary people are going to see that as the standard. They're not going to do what the Shastra says. They're going to do what they see, whomever they consider to be the best person, whatever that person is doing. This is why we have to maintain standards in our own personal behavior. Because people aren't going to listen to what we say, they're going to watch what we do. All parents know this. So, those are called parinishthita devotees. And then the third class of devotees are called nirapeksha devotees. They have no consideration whether it is Shastra, whether it is not Shastra. Their only purpose is to surrender to the Lord. They offer everything to the Lord, whether it is Shastric or not. And who are the examples of this category of devotees? Gopis. The gopis were not always following every rule. Sometimes they broke the rules. Sometimes Krishna, he didn't directly instruct them to break the rules, but he very strongly implied that they should break the rules. So these are called nirapeksha devotees. In other words, they have no faith invested in anything other than the lotus feet of Hari Guru Vaishnavas. That is their only hope for elevation. So they're all devotees, but there are 3 different classes of devotees here. Now, the significance of Baladev Vidyabhushan's comment on this, natu sanishtanam, means that not even these sanishta devotees, not even these ordinarily pious devotees, they're not the ones that Krishna is talking about in this verse. Krishna is talking about, it would seem, the other 2 categories, because as he says, Mam vina pranam tartham asamarthanam. Somebody who's not even able to maintain his life without Krishna. That is a very high caliber of Krishna consciousness. Most of us can maintain our lives without Krishna, is it not? In fact, we're quite often throughout the day, we're making a conscious effort to escape Krishna or his representatives. It's true. And this is why he says, Made kantinam eva. They're only surrendered unto me. We'll get back to that in a moment. Okay, so then for those persons, what do they expect? Anukampartham. He's acting for the purpose of showing them mercy. Yena prakarena syat, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, kapi chintana kardya. One who is a really surrendered devotee, as we've been discussing, he has no worry about anything else. Because somehow or other, yena prakarina, somehow or other Krishna is going to show his mercy. And we're going to discuss how that manifests. So who is it that will show the mercy? Aham. This is the next word. Tesham evanukam partham aham. Aham means ahameva. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, ahameva yatamana. I'm the only one who's making the endeavor. The devotee does not have to endeavor anything. I do it. This is the implication. Balavidav Bhushan says similarly, ahameva nashayami. I'm the one who destroys. So what do they destroy? Ajnanajam tamaha. This is the next word. Ajnanajam tamaha. The darkness which is born of ignorance. What exactly does that mean? Ramanujacharya on this verse says, Jnana virodha prachina karma rupa ajnanajam tamaha. That means the ignorance which is born out of the ignorance which takes the form of the samskars, or the trace of so many ancient karmas that we may have performed, jnana virodhi, which are against, the very nature of those activities is they militate against the cultivation of knowledge. When a person engages particularly in sinful activities, that sinful reaction, the reaction to that sinful activity is that one's consciousness becomes covered over. When we engage in any kind of sense gratification, whether it is pious or sinful, we forget our actual identity, which is, what is our actual identity? We are spiritual entities. We are tiny, tiny parts and parcels of the Supreme Absolute Truth, Krishna. And as spiritual entities, we don't really have to follow the demands of the senses. So all of you can go home tonight and rest assured that you don't have to take rest tonight. And for that matter, you don't have to eat either. And you don't have to go to work in the morning because you're not your body. You see, it's a little difficult, don't you? So it's not so easy, actually, to attain this wisdom. But gradually, we can do this. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says something very similar. He says, Jnanam madeka prakashayatvan na satvikam nirgunetvi bhaktiyutha jnanatopi vilakshanam yattadeva. The ignorance which is destroyed is that ignorance that makes us think that we have something other to do than serve Krishna. Because when you serve Krishna in ekanta bhakti, exclusive devotional service, then as a matter of fact, you don't have to do anything. And quite often we see those who are very, very advanced devotees, they don't need to eat. Who are the examples of this? Dhruva Maharaj, for 6 months he didn't eat anything. This is in the Srimad Bhagavatam described. Who else? Hiranyakashipu. He needs to sit in the corner on a high stool with a conical hat on his head. Okay. 6 Goswamis, we're hearing. Raghunath Das Goswami, what was he eating? Every few days he would have a little bit of butter. That's all. Extreme austerities. Sometimes we see devotees are capable of this. Srila Prabhupada also, in his later days, he didn't eat anything. Already for the last 10 years of his life, how much was Srila Prabhupada sleeping? Anybody know this? About 2 hours. Raise your hand if you're able to do this. No, I can't do it. So it's not such an easy thing, actually, to come to that level. So Baladev Vidabhushan says something else very similar. He says, Jnana virodhi anadi karma rupa jnanam jam. That ignorance which is born out of one's beginningless karmic reactions and has the nature of opposing knowledge. This is the idea. And what else does he add to this? Mad anya vishaya spriha rupam. Mad anya vishaya spriha. We want things other than Krishna. We're looking for non-Krishna things to fill our lives with. This is what he calls mad anya vishaya spriha rupam tamaha. That ignorance is destroyed by Krishna. And how does he destroy it? Jnana deepena bhasvata. By the lamp of knowledge which shines. That's not a comfortable process. When you're asleep, if someone shines a light in your eyes, it's not very pleasing. So, in this world, we're like that. We're all quite happy in our salubrious slumber, you might say. What's the extreme example? I gave this the other day regarding Indra. When Indra was somehow or other by his karma, Indra was cursed. You have to leave Swargaloka. You have to leave the heavenly planets, and you have to take birth as a pig. Indra, the king of heaven, had to leave his post in Swargaloka, and he had to take birth as a pig. When the period of his curse came to an end, he found that he was quite conditioned by his position in Mountain View, California. I'm sorry, in the wherever he was. So he was not inclined to go back to Swargaloka even. In fact, once you become a pig, you don't really have any conception of what Swargaloka is. As far as your conception goes, Swargaloka means you've got a nice, well, you know where they live. If you've been to India, you know very well. Khaskar Vrindavan mein. These creatures, you know, hote hain. Okay, so this was Indra's condition, and Brahmaji had to take extreme measures to wake him up. So that's not comfortable. Not always comfortable. Jnana deepena bhasvata. Bhasvata means shining. Okay. Now, nashayami. Krishna says, ahameva nashayami. We've already described this. He's the only one who destroys this ignorance. That's a very important point. First of all, I'd like to skip ahead to the next word here. Atma bhavastha. It's very, very interesting what this word, how you can interpret this word. Aside from what's written here, Atma bhavastha, situated within their hearts, does anyone have any idea what it might connote? Atma bhavastha. Ramanujacharya says, manovrittau vishayataya avasthito. I'm situated in such a way that I understand everything that they think about. Everything that we think about. He's closer to our thoughts than we are, as a matter of fact. Think about that for a while. He knows what we are thinking about more than we know what we're thinking about. So this is what Ramanujacharya says. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says a little bit similarly. Buddhi vrittau sthito. He is situated in the functions of one's intelligence. That's the whole topic. You'll notice yesterday or the other day when we spoke on text number 10, this is also the topic that Krishna will supply intelligence. Whatever intelligence is required, he will supply it. Favorite example was given by this Dr. Thomas Hopkins is his name? I think so. He said he was impressed because the first time he ever visited the temple, ISKCON temple, was I think in maybe 1967 or maybe 68, something very early. And he found that there were all these people who were terribly devoted to their spiritual master, but every time he tried to ask them questions about Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, they were kind of vague. They didn't know so much. But he was impressed because he saw that here's one devotee was working very hard, Brahmananda, I think it was. Srila Prabhupada told him to go out and start a magazine. And he had no idea how to start a magazine. He had no idea what it entailed to put together a magazine. His only association with magazines had been to read one. Yet, that's exactly what he did. Bhakti Godhead magazine was published in India by Srila Prabhupada from 1944. When he came to the United States, he wanted to continue that, and he engaged his disciples in doing that. So Krishna gave the intelligence how to do it. Another favorite example, in 1974, I think it was, Srila Prabhupada wanted to publish his Chaitanya Charitamrita, massive Bengali work by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, and it would be about 17 volumes. And Srila Prabhupada asked him, how long does it take to publish one volume? And the devotees calculated, and they came back and told him it takes about 2 months. So Srila Prabhupada said, I want the entire Chaitanya Charitamrita completed in 2 months. 17 volumes in 2 months. Break that up into weeks. You've got 12 weeks and 17 volumes. Each, in less than a week, you're printing one more volume. Can you imagine the frenetic pace at which they had to work? So Rameshwar was in charge of the BBT at that time, and his jaw dropped open when he realized that Prabhupada was serious about this. And he told Prabhupada, that's impossible. And Prabhupada turned around and looked at him sternly and said, impossible is a word in a fool's dictionary. Then he and Radha Vallabha, who were together managing BBT at that time, they dropped behind the rest of the group that was walking with Srila Prabhupada because they had to instantly go back and have an emergency meeting to figure out how they're going to get this done in the next 2 weeks. They mobilized the entire temple in 24-hour shifts. People were eating, sleeping, dreaming books. And they got it done because of faith. So there's a lot to be said for the Sanishta devotees. Even Sanishta devotees. Somebody who has faith. Now there's another story about this which not very many people know, but Rameshwar Prabhu told me this personally a few years ago. I didn't know it also. He eventually left ISKCON, he left Krishna consciousness, he stopped practicing for some time, and he found himself deeply entangled in his father's business. So one time when they were out they were in some restaurant, Chinese restaurant, and in Chinese restaurants they bring you fortune cookies. Everybody know what a fortune cookie is? There's it's hollow, and there's a little piece of paper in it, and you're supposed to read your fortune. It's written, a little piece of paper has your fortune written on it. So everybody saw their fortune cookie. When he opened his jaw dropped open again. And everybody's just looking at him and saying, are you okay? He just turned white when he read this, what his fortune said. They couldn't imagine what it was. He told me what it said. It said, impossible is a word in a fool's dictionary. He's now back in ISKCON. He took up his chanting again. He's returned to active service for our society. You can't keep a good man down. So this is how Krishna helps devotee. He supplies intelligence one way or the other. He shows special mercy, vishesh mercy. So the devotees are very special. In fact, this is something that Baladev Vidyabhushan brings to our attention. I think it's Baladev, maybe it's Vishwanath. He quotes from Vedanta Sutra, Book 4, Chapter 3, Text 16, Vishesham cha darshayati. This is describing the character of the devotees. The devotees have a special character. They're special. They're not like the karmis, or the jnanis, or the yogis. Because all those three, they depend on basically their own endeavors to produce the fruits of their endeavors, whatever they may be. The karmi is engaged very seriously in pious activity and wants to elevate himself through that activity, ritual activity especially. The jnani is sick of that. He sees through that because anything in the realm of karma, it has a beginning and end. So he figures, what is the point? It's all just going around and around. I want something real. I want something that's beyond time, beyond the dualities of auspicious and inauspicious results. So that person cultivates this Atma Gyan, as we've described, spiritual knowledge, which means really awareness of, as I said, not only the nature of spirit, but of our identity as such. He's the Jnani. And the yogi takes this knowledge and takes the fruits of these endeavors, and he focuses them very specifically on what? On the super soul within the heart, Paramatma, Bhagavan's expansion within the heart as the overseer and the director of our intelligence, Paramatma. The absolute truth is within all of our hearts, and he's known by this name, Paramatma. So the yogi focuses his meditation on this Paramatma. But whether one practices karma or jnana or yoga, one is essentially pushing this process by his own strength. In bhakti yoga, it's a very different thing. The bhakti yogi gives up. And the bhakti yogi says, I have no strength, I have no determination, I have no adhikar for anything. I depend completely on you, and I'm ready to do what you want me to do. See, surrenders. This is what we call surrender. This is the devotee that Krishna is talking about when he says, I show them special mercy being within their hearts. Atma bhavastha, in this case, means Atma bhavastha, situated in me. Aham Atma bhavastha. These are two words in consonants. Situated within me is bhava, or affection, for all the atmas. Atma bhavastha. Within me I have love for all the atmas. This is what he says here. So any way you want to read it, and then he gives an analogy. Aravinda koshe bringa iva, tad bhave sthito divya sarupa gunams tatra prakashayan. Just as a bee is within the lotus flower, so that I am within their hearts, and I take special mercy upon them, and I reveal my divine form, I reveal my transcendental qualities, I reveal everything to them. This is how he reads this idea. Aham ajnana jamtama nashayami. Okay, so a couple of things are very significant about this. Now that we've understood the special, because the devotees have a special approach to Krishna, Krishna reciprocates in kind and has a very special approach to the devotees. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tastatheva bhajamayaham. Who knows this verse? Mama vartmanu vartante manushya partha sarvasha. From which chapter? Chapter 4. What does it mean? Ye yatha mam prapadyante. As they surrender to me, tastatheva bhajami aham. What does bhajami mean? I worship them. Really, in this sense, we have to say it means I respond in kind or something like that. I reciprocate. Yeah. So, but the worship is also not an incorrect choice of words, because actually this is Krishna's only program. We were talking about this the other day. He's called Bhaktavatsala, the one who loves his devotees. And what is the place where Krishna lives eternally in the spiritual realm? What do we call it? Goloka. Why do we call it Goloka? Because the cows are his devotees. He reciprocates with those devotees. He names his own abode not after himself, but after them, because in his mind, they're the most important residents. So, devotees are very special for Krishna, because Krishna is the only concern of the devotees. Okay, so, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says, he's quoting Bhagavad Gita chapter 9, text number 22. Anybody know the verse? Chapter 9, text number 22. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye janaha paryupasate tesham nityabhyuktanam yoga kshemam vahamyaham. What does it mean? Those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, bookmark that, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack, and I preserve what they have. This is why Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur can say, Kapi chinta nakarya. At no time does a devotee have to worry. Because if he is surrendered, all you have to do is surrender to Krishna, and he will take care of whatever it is that you require. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur specifies what exactly does that mean. He says, Vyavaharika paramarthika chasarvepi bharo mayavorhum angikrita eveti bhavaha. The idea here is that whether it is a material need, something in the world of Vyavahara, or whether it is something that you require for your path of spiritual advancement back to Godhead, Paramartha. Either way, he says, Sarvepi bharo mayavorhum. I myself, Krishna speaking, I accept this burden as my own. Angikrita evedi bhava. In other words, he makes it his own concern. It is no longer your concern, it is my concern. This is Krishna's attitude. When we surrender like this. So we're talking about the surrendered devotees. And of course, it's ideal that we should become such surrendered devotees. And we have the means to do so. Why? If we're not fully surrendered devotees, we've already been discussing, this whole process of giving special mercy and reciprocation is for those who are really fully surrendered. Now, if we're not in that category, what can we do about it? Huh? One devotee came to Srila Prabhupada and said, Srila Prabhupada, how can I be sincere? You know what Prabhupada said? Just be sincere. We always have the ability to be sincere. And because we've been hearing that if we are sincere, Krishna reciprocates commensurately, therefore we always have the means to elevate. We don't have the means. It's not coming from within us. It's coming from him. Is his purpose ever frustrated? Is he not Yogeshwara? Yatra Yogeshwaro Krishna, yatra partho dhanurdharaha, ityadi. He can do anything. He can even deliver a person who is completely unfit. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada writes here in his purport that he's put it very nicely here. I'll find it in a moment. The pure devotee does not have to worry about the material necessities of life. He need not be anxious because when he removes the darkness from his heart, and now we know what that darkness is, don't we? Anybody remember? What is that darkness? Let me read this again. The pure devotee does not have to worry about the material necessities of life. He need not be anxious because when he removes the darkness from his heart, everything is provided automatically by the Supreme Lord. What is that darkness? Huh? I went through that pretty quickly, so maybe I should read it again. Jnana virodhi anadi karma rupa jnanajam mad vishaya mad anya vishaya spriha rupam tama. The ignorance which takes the form of desires for things that are other than Krishna, which arises out of beginningless karma that is opposed to the development of Gyan over many lifetimes. This is something that Prabhupada, he mentions in his purport. Indirectly, he discusses the same thing. And then he says that even if a devotee does not take advantage of the literatures of the great scholars who are in this line, or of his spiritual master, if he is sincere in his devotional service, he is helped by Krishna himself within the heart. So the sincere devotee engaged in Krishna consciousness cannot be without knowledge. The only qualification is that one carry out devotional service in full Krishna consciousness. And what does full Krishna consciousness mean? It means you surrender. You agree. I'm going to give up my false ego. I'm going to give up maybe what I want to do. I'm going to do what you want me to do. This is surrender. If we just do that, and if we are very consistent in that faith, then Krishna helps us. Tesham eva anukamparthamaham jnanajam tamaha nashiyami atmabhavasto jnana deepena bhasvata. Atmabhavasto, given what the different acharyas have said about it, it means that Krishna is fully aware of what we're experiencing. He's fully aware of what we want. He's fully aware of where we've been. He's fully aware of what our strengths and weaknesses are, the way our minds work, the way our intelligence also works. He knows it all. We were discussing this recently. The sons of Kuvera, after the Damodar Lila, sons of Kuvera, they offered their prayers to Krishna. Not everybody can enter into the spirit of those prayers. For example, the small children in Vrindavan, when they were asked by Nanda Maharaj what happened, do you know what they said? They said Krishna pulled down the two Arjun trees, and then two golden men came out and started talking to Krishna. That was the extent of what they could appreciate of these prayers. We can hopefully enter a little bit more into it because we're not so covered over by Yogamaya yet. But one of the things they said is very significant. They addressed the Lord as Sarva Kshetra Vikara Vit. Sarva Kshetra Vikara Vit. He knows all the changes that every field of activities, everyone has their own field of activities. What is your field of activities? Kshetra. What does it consist of? Anybody remember offhand? This is also in Bhagavad Gita. Okay, we know that it means the elements, it means the body, it means the mind, intelligence, false ego. That's enough. We don't even know all those things. But Krishna knows them all in detail, very well. So, and he knows not only that, but he knows all the changes that our field of activities has undergone. In how many millions of years? Just like we were discussing these Nadi readers, those who are Tamils, you know about this. I saw one in Delhi actually, it was astonishing. He had my thumbprint and the first initial of my name, and with that information alone he told me, what are my health problems, what's my profession, how many siblings, whether I'm married or not, where I live, what I do, all adi, 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 adi. So many things. I was just astonished. So they say that there's Agastya Muni. He one day went to Parvati and asked, I want to hear about all your children. So she started narrating about the lives of all living entities in this material world. Not only this life, but all the past lives and all the future lives as well. They've got massive amounts of manuscripts even now in this Maharaj Serforji library, Tanjore. All right, so anyway, this is Sarva Kshetra Vikara Vit. Krishna knows all these things. Atma Bhavastha, because he's situated within the heart. And he's been following, he's been tracking us, as we say. Like when you send a package, you track the package. What's your tracking number? Krishna knows these things. So he's following from life after life, and he's able to help us. He knows exactly what we need, but we need to take the step necessary to inspire him, to show him. So the bhakti is this thing. Therefore, it's very different from anything else. That's why we say, very confidently, you cannot compare the chanting of the holy name, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, to any other pious activity. The Shastra says these things. Even you cannot compare Harinama Sankirtana to performing 1,000,000 Ashvamedha Yajnas in Banaras, in Purushottama Thikmas, or in Kartik. It's still not comparable because of this fundamental difference. We're taking the radical step of saying, I want out of this material system altogether, and I'm ready to do what you want. When we say that to Krishna, then he's very impressed. Okay, now you're talking. And especially when we say it to Krishna's devotees. Who's Krishna's greatest devotee? Srimati Radharani. Therefore in Vrindavan, the devotees in Vrindavan, they're not so impressed by Krishna, they're not even really so concerned about Krishna. They know Krishna's nature. Why? Because they're devotees of Srimati Radharani. Radharani. She knows. What does she say about Krishna's nature? Yeah. Ashlishyava paradatam pinashtumam adarshanath marnamahatam karotuva. And yatha tatha vaviradhatul amparto. He'll do anything. He has no rules. Just like people on the freeway here in the Bay Area. We were talking about this. On the drive over, somebody just cut in front of it, no signal, kuch nahi. So yatha tatha vaviradhatul amparta. She said he's lamparta after all. How you can't translate this word? It's too strong for the English language. And this is what Srimati Radharani, and she's the best devotee. So she has a soft spot. She knows what it's like to be a devotee. This is the point. She, from her own experience, she knows. Her heart has also been broken. And by Krishna, sometimes something happens to us, and we know that there's a God in control. How could he do this to me? She knows very well what it's like. Therefore, the devotees in Vrindavan, they take shelter only of Srimati Radharani. Krishna's okay, but main thing is Srimati Radharani. Actually, once I was in a rickshaw, we were passing by. You know, in India, every 10 feet there's a shrine, Hanuman or somebody. So then he sees there's a Hanuman shrine on the side of the road, so he rings his rickshaw bell. The ching, 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 ching. He says, Radhe, Radhe, Hanuman. This is life in Vrindavan. Okay, so the devotees, once they take that step of approaching, maybe not even Krishna, but approaching Krishna's devotee for the purpose of surrendering, then it's a very special thing. Then they come into this category that they've quoted here from Vedanta Sutra. Vishesham cha darshayati. They display the special character that endears the bhaktas to Krishna, unlike any other. Like one time Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they were having their nocturnal kirtans. At night they would chant Hare Krishna, Sankirtana, all night long. And one brahmachari, very pious boy, he was only drinking milk, brahmachari, very austere. He had no worldly attachments, very advanced in his own way. He really wanted to get into the kirtan. So one of the devotees, they snuck him into the kirtan because not everybody was allowed, only the devotees. Because if the non-devotees come, then they will misunderstand. They'll interpret everything in terms of their karma and jnana and yoga. They won't be able to understand it in terms of bhakti. So this brahmachari, he was surreptitiously taken into the kirtan, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt there's something not right here. Some person is here, because they were hiding him in a basket so that he could hear the kirtan. So Lord Chaitanya, after it was revealed that this brahmachari was hiding there, he wanted to make this point. He said, I don't care how much milk he drinks. He cannot come into my kirtan unless he's a devotee. So devotional service is a very special thing. Now, I was going to say, chapter 9, text 22, Yoga Kshemam Vahami. The word is used in that verse, vahami. What does vahami mean? To carry. What do you carry? Luggage. Burden, bhara. The idea here is that Krishna will carry that bhara. And Krishna takes it, he carries it not as a matter of his duty, because you've done something for me, therefore I'm obliged to do something for you. He does it because he wants to do it. This is love. This is love, only love. Actually, it's very interesting. If we look through all the different processes, really the essence of them should be only love. Karma, this was one passage I read, it was very interesting. In Jaimini's Purva Mimamsa Sutras, one of the commentators has written there, that actually if you look through all the Dharma Shastras, Dharma Shastra generally means what? Law. Law applies where love fails. We need law only because people don't love each other. If love is predominant, then there's no need for law. Law is only applicable where love has not been allowed to shine through. So he says actually the essence of all these injunctions is only love. Because they're ultimately meant to bring us to this point. As we said, in Sanishta Bhakti, it's a long road from Karma Yoga, or Buddhi Yoga sometimes we call it, through Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and then finally Bhakti Yoga. But the ultimate goal is only love. And the same principle is there in all the other paths as well. But once we demonstrate only that we're ready to love Krishna, then Krishna is prepared to deal with us in the same way. But we have to be very strategic about this because it's not so easy. We're all very conditioned. How many of us have had the experience when you set your alarm clock, it takes more than one ring? This is what it means to be conditioned. So in the same way, sometimes it takes more than one life to really wake up. Therefore, Krishna says, Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. It's a very rare person who can actually take to this nirakshepa bhakti, completely 100% dependent bhakti. It's very rare. Most of us need to strategize to one degree or another, and that's why we have spiritual masters. But we can read chapter 9, text number 22, because it's worth noting this point. Tesham nityabhyuktanam. Nityabhyuktanam means they're always engaged. Yogakshemam vahami aham. I carry what they lack. If you are missing something, he will supply it. Because he knows. As Atma Bhavastha, he knows what's missing inside, he knows what's missing outside, he will supply it. Vahami, and I carry. That burden is a burden of love. He doesn't mind. There was a story about this in America. One boy was, I think maybe he was paralyzed or something. And there was a place called Boys Town. I think it's in Kansas. It was a home for kids who were like what we call now physically challenged. Isn't that what they call them nowadays? They change every few years, so it's hard to keep up. But so he carried his brother all the way from another state where they lived. He carried him all the way to there. And they asked him, isn't he heavy? How do you... He said, no, he's not heavy. He's my brother. This is love. This is love. So Krishna also feels like this. Atma bhavastha. Because bhava for each and every atma is within him. Therefore, he has no problem with it. He doesn't do this out of duty. He does it out because he wants to do it, out of love. And another verse cited in this connection is chapter 12, text number 6 and 7. Anybody know them offhand? Yes. Yes, he is the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. Yeah, 6 and 7 both. The two verses are together. Those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pratha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. These two verses are cited by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur as evidence of how Krishna actually does this. How he destroys the ignorance within our hearts, and how he provides whatever we require to go back to Godhead. Okay, now Baladevidabhushan says about this section of the Bhagavad Gita, these Chatushlokis, he says, Navamadi Dvaye, the two chapters, chapter 9 and chapter 10 of Bhagavad Gita, Gita Garbhesmin Mat prakirtitam, yet prakirtitam, whatever is declared in these two chapters, they are tadeva gita sarartha sadam bodhyam vichakshanehi. The intelligent person understands that these verses here in the middle of the Bhagavad Gita, they constitute the essence of all the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. Gita sarartha sadam, the essence of the Gita's essence. It should be understood that these 4 verses embody all of that. Why? The first verse, Krishna establishes basic sambandha gyan. That means everything's coming from me. Somebody who actually knows this, he worships me with all his heart. Then, to give us an illustration, he tells us exactly how they do that. Namachitta madgata prana tyadi. They're thinking about me, they're constantly glorifying me, they're sharing their realizations. In this way they enjoy. And then he says, if there's any problem, I give the intelligence by which they can come to me. And in today's verse, he says exactly how that happens. Achintya shaktitaha. It happens somehow or other by the Lord's inconceivable grace. But the acharyas in their comments here, they have pointed out that the Lord is Atma Bhavastha. He understands everything about us. He can do it. He can do anything. So it should not be a mystery. Okay, I'm going to stop here. But if anybody has any questions or any comments on any of this that we've discussed so far, we can maybe discuss it further. Tesham evanukam parham aham jnanajam tamaha nashiyami atma bhavastho jnana deepena bhasvata. To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with a shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. Yes, Shraddha Devi.
Thank you so much for this wonderful, wonderful class. And it was very timely because as I was driving into the temple,
somebody cut in front of you also?
No. I know somebody called and asked me this question. It's a devotee just joined the congregation. And she's going through a lot in life by way of having lost the job and whatever coverage the government provides that's getting over and things like that. And she went and saw an astrologer and they said that she's got Shani Dasha and things like that. And
I know what that's like.
Yeah. And they suggested that, and you were mentioning a couple of lectures ago that
26 years of Saturn, I have experience, I know.
Yeah.
First Mahadasha, then Iske Badhi, was Saraswati Bhi. So 26 years altogether. I know how he works.
So she was advised by him to chant some mantras for Shani and do some things at the temple like donate urad dal and things like that. So her question was that since she is now coming into Krishna consciousness, how does that compare with chanting the Hare Krishna mantra and having faith there versus...
You're the third person to ask me a similar question in as many days. It seems like this is on a lot of people's minds. Shani in particular is himself a Vaishnava, and he worships Narasimhadev. So, because he's a Vaishnava, and because his Ishtadeva is Narasimhadev, if you worship Narasimhadev, then it would seem that you would be in his good books. But at any rate, Narasimhadev is in charge of Shani. So if you take shelter of Lord Narasimhadev, then all your problems are solved, I would think. Because Shani cannot do anything without Narasimhadev's permission. But another way to look at it is that the best way to worship Narasimhadev is to worship his devotees. So there are two ways to look at this, depending. Bale Vidyabhushan, as I've said in the beginning, he divides the different devotees that are addressed throughout the Bhagavad Gita into 3 different classes. You have the Sanishtas, who are ordinary devotees. You have the Parinishtas, who are devotees who are exclusive, but not, they're also following the rules and regulations very carefully, conscious of their social duty, you might say, for setting an example. And then you have the Nirakshepa devotees, who are completely in the transcendental realm. So, depending on which category we fit into, there are 2 ways to look at this. One way where you can not bother Krishna with your own problems and go to someone else who's his devotee, because it's better than paying some doctor or somebody like that, isn't it? Or another thing is that you take everything to Krishna, jo kuch bhi, hamare paas ho. You just present the whole thing to Krishna and say, help, guide me appropriately. So I've seen support for either approach in Srila Prabhupada's books. So I don't have a really definitive answer for that. Except that maybe the best thing to do is that we go to our spiritual master and ask him, because he's also Atma Bhavastha, so he'll understand how best to deal with us. Acha, that means you're her spiritual master, because she asked you.
Yeah, because one of the things that she was saying was, like, as you mentioned, that when she heard the word Maha, Shani and all the Maha, so she said that it's very scary, and since
it gets worse.
Yeah, she's so new to Krishna consciousness, so that mind's tendency is that let me go and do that versus.
Yeah. The point is that it's like Narottam Das Thakur says, Anya Devashrayanai. We should not take shelter of other gods. But even there, it depends on how you view them. Because, if you view them as devotees, and your only purpose is Krishna conscious, then I don't see any harm with it. But it's not on the Parinishthita platform. It's not exemplary, because people will misread what you're doing. They will take it to be ordinary demigod worship. So Prabhupada didn't encourage that. Because Prabhupada's Nectar of Devotion, it may be edited out now, but it used to say that in the beginning one should worship Vaikuntha deities like Ganesh. And so one devotee said, well, maybe I should worship Ganesh and make a lot of money and give that money to Srila Prabhupada. So this devotee asked Srila Prabhupada, is it okay to do this? And Srila Prabhupada said, yes, it is, as long as you give me $10,000 every month. He was joking, of course. So yeah, we have to be a little careful about that. In principle, we should have the firm conviction that we don't have to place our faith in anyone else other than Krishna, and he will take care. But if you see this as a mode of putting your faith in Krishna, then that's one thing. The gopis were doing this. Throughout Bhagavatam I see the perfect devotees are doing this. They're worshipping demigods also. But the purpose of the devotee is very, very different and not comparable and easily misunderstood. Therefore, it's not an advisable approach. Is that okay? All right. Anything else? Yes. Okay.
First, back up to the question. If I understand correctly, you mentioned the orders of yoga, that people go from karma to jnana to ultimately bhakti.
That's the normal state of spiritual progress.
And the verse that you read today, you're talking about sattva sanishthas, practice panishtha, and peace. Is that correct understanding?
Well, as I understand, today's verse is really addressing at least the Parinishthas, but maybe even the Nirapakshas.
So is it fair to conclude this that today's verse is meant for people to at least cross some of these basic levels of yoga?
That's what I think.
Okay, so in that case, my question is, why does Krishna say that for those people who are in that state, I destroy the ignorance from the heart using the Gyan, Deepen, Bhasvata? Why should it be Bhakti, Deepen, Bhasvata? Because they only cross the stage of not Gyan.
No, this is not ordinary Gyan, this is Divya Gyan. Just like we pray for Divya Gyan every morning. Chakhudan diloje janme janme prabhushe Divya Gyan hriday prakashit. That's why it's important to make a clear distinction, as I mentioned, between the three processes of karma, gyan, yoga, and the inimitable process, incomparable, unique process of bhakti. They're very different. They look to be the same, just like with regard to her questions. Looks like this person is also worshipping demigods, but it's not the same thing, not at all the same thing. It is antithetical. That is the point.
So if this Gyan, Prabhuji, is not Why should there be ignorance? Because the state should be beyond ignorance. It should be within sattva and shuddha sattva, not between tamas, rajas, and sattva, which is where ignorance lies. Ignorance does not lie between sattva and shuddha.
I'm lost, please. You're speaking too fast. Repeat the question slowly.
So, this verse talks about removal of ignorance.
Yes.
My understanding is ignorance lies at lower stages where there is tamas and rajas, leading on to sattva. And as far as I understand, divya jnana is more about sattva going on to be permanent state, which is transcendental, and therefore it becomes shuddha sattva. So that state is not called ignorance. So why should this verse then talk about remove ignorance? It should talk about emancipation or maybe enhancement of the state of realization, not a removal of ignorance.
We mentioned this briefly, but it was mainly in Sanskrit, so maybe it wasn't clear. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that this jnanam is that which, on account of revealing Krishna, cannot be considered to be mere sattvic jnana, nor even nirguna jnana also, but rather jnana that reveals the Lord's transcendental names and forms and etc. It's divya jnana, as we said. It's a special thing. The whole point of this verse is that this mercy is very special. Is that okay?
We have a second question, but if someone else wants to ask,
She was first, and she has a microphone.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, my question is, you were talking about surrender. When a person becomes a devotee, like really want to surrender, but because of the past conditionings, there would be so many things, could be envy, greed, lust or anger, or whatever anarthas. You really want to give it up, but you're not able to give it up because of the past conditioning. So in that situation, two things: how to get rid of it. Second question is, during that process, do we still continue to incur karma? Because then it will never end.
Well, I think this is what Krishna implies, at least, when he says, yoga kshemam vahamyaham. And it's certainly what is being stated here when it says that Krishna has taken as his own responsibility the removal of all that ugly stuff. Hridayantasto hyabhadrani vidhunoti suhrit satam. We just have to be suhrit and sat. And when we're honest and well-intentioned, which means basically surrendered to what Krishna wants, then he takes care of all of these things. And we practice. Fortunately, we have a bona fide spiritual master, and he's taking care of us. As long as he's pleased with us, then we're fine. It may take some time. It's not expected to happen overnight. When a child learns how to walk, he's going to fall. It's expected. But he has to be trying to learn how to walk. And Krishna is in the unique position that he's able to judge that. Nobody else can judge that. So we just have to make the endeavor, and Krishna will give us everything we require. And it's been seen many times. I gave a couple of examples. Is that okay? All right. Somebody else?
Thank you, Prabhuji, for the class. I have a question regarding the austerity. Is the austerity, for example, on Ekadashi, sometimes we do a Nirjal Ekadashi. Is it a precursor?
That's coming up in a few days.
Is it a precursor to devotional service, or is it?
It's very helpful. It's very helpful. I've mentioned several times, pretty much all the time, I mention that Krishna himself encourages Arjuna that if you really want to develop, he very strongly implies at least, that if you really want to develop pakav, devotion, then you have to be situated very firmly in piety. And this Ekadashi and other vratas is very, very good for that. Ekadashi, though, is in a special category, not just ordinary pious activity. Purushottama Mas, as far as I understand, is ordinary pious activity. But Ekadashi is very devotional. It is called Bhakti Janani. Bhakti is specifically engenders, Ekadashi specifically engenders bhakti. Other austerities and vrats and tapas and things, you don't necessarily get bhakti. But Ekadashi is very, very favorable for bhakti. So devotees take it very seriously. Now, whether you fast completely or from water and everything, that's another matter. You have to consult with your spiritual master, and you have to consider all aspects, health and other things. Is that okay? Are you relieved? Okay, anything else? Again.
Firstly, Prabhuji, thank you for the first answer. I forgot to thank you. So, the second question is, you mentioned that Krishna has the capacity to, what was the word you used? To not exactly liberate, but you said he can take them to the end, whatever, even a fallen person. So my question is, why doesn't he do it? And I think that probably the answer is that we need to, love is something that has to be fostered on our own, and that's a power of volition. Well, then there is a disconnect there, right? So when that sentence is stated, is it like Krishna can take...
I'm not getting anything you're saying, sorry. You have to slow down, I think, then I'll hear it.
Okay. At one point you mentioned that Krishna has the capacity to liberate a fallen person.
Yes.
And then...
Foreign person?
Fallen, F-A-L-L-E.
Fallen person, okay.
Right. And then obviously he doesn't do it. And my understanding is that that's because he can do anything that he wants, excepting fostering of love within ourselves, which is something that has to be nurtured, and that's something that he's waiting for, and that's the only reason why he doesn't do it. So then when you mention that he can actually liberate anyone, is it only Brahman level liberation that we're talking about, and not the...
When I mentioned that he can what?
He can, I don't know what word you use, I forgot, but I think it tantamount to someone being liberated, anyone. He can relieve, I don't think you used the word relieve, I forgot what word you used. But what I heard you say was, Krishna is totally free, and therefore he can even take anyone who's the most fallen as well.
He can.
But he doesn't. So that's where I'm getting at.
This is love. In love, both parties are equally important. It's not just a question of what he wants. It's a question of what you want as well.
Obviously want to go.
And love is not robotics. It's not AI.
So essentially what you're saying is that he knows me better than myself, that I really don't want to go to him.
That may be.
I don't have any answer to that, then yeah, maybe.
It's not a question.
Yeah, I understand.
It's love. If we want to love him, we can love him. If we don't care, then we need to cook a little longer. And we will cook.
Well, I was expecting that he starts loving us, and once we reach him, then
Starts
we can love him.
loving?
Well, he loves us to the extent that he can take us back to Goloka even before we are qualified. And once we reach there, it's a state of infinite possibilities, which means I cannot fall down, and then I would be able to start loving him, even if I cannot love him now. That's what I was getting at.
I'm not sure where this question is leading, but it kind of reminds me of a similar question someone asked Srila Prabhupada.
Sure.
If Krishna is all-knowing, then, and if the living entity also has independence, then that means Krishna knows what you're going to do, no matter what your independence, no matter what choice you make independently, which means that you don't really have independence. So Srila Prabhupada answered this, saying that, no, Krishna knows what you're going to do, but you still have independence. You can do something other than you know, what, I mean, you can do either, you have two options. You can serve Krishna or not serve Krishna. And the person just kept arguing because he couldn't wrap his mind around that. And then finally Prabhupada gave up and said, okay, Krishna doesn't know what you're going to do. So, you know, at a certain point you have to accommodate the Achintya Shakti, because I can guarantee you, any question you pursue farther enough, you're going to come against this brick wall. That this thing is inconceivable. Everything is like that. That's why people like George Wald, in the maturity of his career back in the 1980s or something, I met him in Austin, Texas. He said that, he was chanting Hare Krishna because he said that, this is nuclear physics can only take us so far. There's something beyond this paradigm. This is the point. Logic itself is limited. The logic is limited. The absolute truth is not limited. The logic itself is limited. That's the problem. As long as you're stuck within that Procrustean bed, you can't fit a square peg into the round hole, as they say. So there are some things that are just that way. And to a die-hard empiricist and others who are too attached to their rational faculties, it looks to be a cop-out. That's how they see it. Their faith allows them to process it in that way. But if somebody's a little bit more open, then they can admit there's some inconceivable Shakti. I can't understand it, but it's going on. So I sense that this answer to your question, whatever it is, I'm not sure I still understand it, but it's probably something like that.
Yes, I think it did, and I think the word inconceivable covered whatever was remaining. So beyond that,
yeah.
Thank you.
Well, here's the thing: is that the die-hard scientists will see inconceivable potency as a cop-out. This is the point.
Yes.
But so there are very serious thinkers, even trained in that discipline, who eventually come to the conclusion that you have to step outside the box at some point.
Yeah, I think that box being made of that inconceivable material is where Krishna wins, and I think we cannot just win with him. So,
any other questions?
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, I was just thinking, so is this... Prabhu was asking about Nirjala Ekadashi. I had a question on that. Okay. I was just wondering that this time Nirjala Ekadashi happens on Saturday, and we're usually out books. So if you're out on the books for 6 hours or so, and
I know where this question is going.
So, I've had devotees say that, I'm going to take a little bit because it'll be so hard to do books off for a long time. So, what would you...
Our spiritual masters have taught us for a few generations now that you have to be prepared to shed gallons of blood for the deliverance of even one other person. Any doctors here? You know how many gallons of blood there are in a human body? I think it's not even one. Something, anyway. I mean, but this answer is not going where you think it's going. Srila Prabhupada used to emphasize austerity should be employed in the service of spreading Krishna consciousness. And whatever it takes to do that, that is the real austerity. It's more important than performing Nirjala Ekadashi to maintain sufficient strength to put yourself out for another person who may be looking very hard for what you have to offer. They're out there. And you have to make yourself available. And whatever it takes to sustain yourself in order to do that, that is the austerity that should be privileged. Is that clear? I can give you a much more extreme example, but many people would misunderstand it. But Srila Prabhupada was prepared to make all kinds of exceptions to every traditional rule in order to get this thing done. Because the Sankirtan is the process in this day and age. And distributing books or whatever other mode of preaching Krishna consciousness, it's all an extension of Sankirtana in effect. Because the effect is that somebody becomes awakened by hearing. Either he's hearing Harinam Sankirtan, or he's getting prasadam, or he's getting some book or something. That's the thing that we have to put our attention into. Whatever it takes to make that happen, that is the austerity we should privilege. Clear? All right, what else? Yes.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for such enlightening class. I think I missed something, that what is the difference between Sanishta devotee and Parinishta devotee? What is the major difference?
It's subtle. They're both following rules and regulations. One of them is going step by step through karma, yoga, jnana, ityadi. The other one is very focused on Krishna, but still following the rules and regulations very carefully.
Thank you so
There
much.
are other differences also, but that's the main one.
You talked about the third category is the nirpeksh devotee. So how does he maintain his vyavaharika duty?
How does he maintain what?
His vyavaharika, like his daily duties?
Vyavaharic duties.
Yeah, because especially when we talk about this current modern world, how does he should maintain his?
I think it was Baladev Vidyabhushan who said that they're mainly sannyasis, those devotees. Not surprising. To be
Thank
a
you.
grahastha means you have to follow rules and regulations. Yes.
Yes, Prabhu. How much independence do we have? Because if there's a destination is predetermined, I'm just trying to get little elaboration on that, because when we hear that it's not in your control, predetermined, so many times we hear. So if everything is there, what I'm going to do, I mean, that way it's meaningless. Or is there Krishna is like watching us and waiting for us to do it, then he's ready to make the changes for us, whatever we want. I just wanted to hear from you.
Well, how much independence do we have? We have no independence in regards to what happens to us. We have no say over that at all. That is pre-written in stone. Nothing you can do about it. But you have independence in terms of how you're going to react to that. Because that's what actually sets, in turn, another chain reaction. If you act in terms of karma, or even vikarma, in response to whatever it is that you experience in life, then you set in motion another chain reaction, which may be good or bad. Or, on the other hand, if you instead surrender to Krishna and make his goal your exclusive, your concern, then Krishna himself will take charge of all the karma and take it good or bad, and he will do whatever he wants with it. So we have independence, but it's limited. Minute independence, Srila Prabhupada says. We do have independence. At every step we have independence, but it's very minute. We can basically, it's like a toggle switch actually. Am I going to surrender, or am I not going to surrender? If you surrender, then Krishna takes charge of everything, yoga kshemam pahami, as we've been discussing. If you don't surrender, then your karma takes over, and it may be good or it may be bad. But you have no say what's happening. Likitam avilalate pronsitam kahasamartha, Hitopadesh says. Whatever's written on your forehead, you have to eat that. There's some indelible barcode on our foreheads. Only the devatas can read it. And they're in charge of administering our karma when the time comes to administer the reaction. It may be thousands, millions of years later, who knows? This is why Krishna says in chapter 3 that there's no telling. The distinctions between karma, akarma, vikarma, it's very, very hard. Even kaviyopi atra mohitaha. Even the kavis are bewildered trying to figure out this karmic system. It's very, very complex and very subtle, and as we were describing, it's inconceivable. But it doesn't really matter, because we have only one decision. Sankalpa vikalpa. We're presented with Krishna, and what are we going to respond? Are we going to bow down? Are we going to push him out of the way? What are we going to do? Usually we're a little mixed, and therefore we get mixed results. And that's why it takes many, many lifetimes. But if we become a little bit firm and we push through and we make a consistent decision, I'm going to surrender to Krishna, then we're free. And Krishna facilitates us as he did with Srila Prabhupada and all their devotees. I think it's time to end now. Is it? Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
All right, if there are no more questions, then we'll stop here. Thank you very much. All glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai. Grace Mukunda Datta Prabhu ki Jai.